You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it. Well,
give me your fucking money!
What's happening, guys? Supernova here, back with another video. Today I asked the question, has EA killed BioWare? Let's talk about it. Anthem is barely released, and it's pretty much dead on arrival, with gamers by the truckload already bored of what there is to see, and not caring at all about what the future content may bring. Anthem was supposed to be a Destiny-like experience, seeing as they're both looter-shooters, but BioWare's latest game just seems to have no soul. Their forte used to be building brand new worlds, and creating tons of lore to make those worlds feel real. We get none of that in Anthem, and whatever little we do get is embarrassingly generic and bland. What has happened to BioWare? I can't help but feel the EA is to blame. Everything they touched lately, they destroyed because of their greed. Let's start with the Battlefront 2 and the loot boxes. Gamers rejected their pay-to-win microtransactions, and Battlefront 2 ended up being a massive failure, with gamers all over the world wishing Disney would pull the Star Wars license away from them. EA at least apologized for their loot boxes, admitting they got it wrong. But then they went on to say that the response they got towards the microtransactions was a learning opportunity. Gee, I wonder if they actually learned anything. Moving on. Next we have Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 is full of feminist propaganda that gamers didn't like and honestly has no business being injected into our games. But that's another story for another time. Then, when we complain about it, EA's response, after their learning opportunity, remember, was, don't like it, don't buy it. Which is just a polite way of saying,
I just want to tell you all, go fuck yourself. Oh, shit.
I don't know what they learned from their last game, but it sure as hell wasn't how to speak to your fans and consumers of your product. Anyway, they said, don't like it, don't buy it. So we didn't. Battlefield 5 was a massive failure. It was a failure before it even released, with pre-orders 85% behind Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and 65% behind the previous Battlefield game. This is an issue that was easily avoidable. Even if we didn't like it, they could have said, we're just trying to be more inclusive, blah, 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 whatever. But no, we got the equivalent of, oh, you don't like it? Well, tough shit. And that's exactly what upset fans want to hear, right? But no, their arrogance and frankly piss-poor attitude cost them millions of dollars. All they had to do was not be assholes. But evidently that's a requirement for executive positions at EA. Oh, hold on, what's that? Oh, EA wants to respond. Go ahead.
I'm the devil, I can do what I want.
Yes, we know. We remember from the last time you told us. And that brings us to Anthem. Let's start by looking at this ways to play Anthem graph that they gave us before the game came out. If you're looking at this and thinking to yourself, what the hell am I looking at? It's okay. That's what we all said. I really don't understand why companies do stuff like this. It makes no sense to me. Like, buy this version and get early access to the demo. Or if you buy this version, you can get early access to the game. And then if you buy this version, you'll get extra early access to the demo before the regular early access. And it's like, who cares? Just make the game, set a release date. Everybody gets it on the same goddamn day. I don't understand why. They have all these ridiculous graphs showing you get this with that, and then that with this, and if you get this one, you can order it here, and then if you do this, you get that. Like, it's stupid. It's stupid. I believe Jim Sterling said it best. Then we get to the game itself. Not as much controversy surrounding this one for a change. The problem is the main story is weak, the characters are forgettable, and the end game is repetitive, uninspired missions over and over and over again to get your loot of repetitive and uninspired designs. You'll get a new gun that looks exactly like your last gun. Ooh, exciting. Where's the lore? Where's the creativity BioWare is known for? The loot you dropped is boring. You can get cool stuff, sure, but you guessed it, you gotta spend real money to get it. Even so, after 6 years of development, the variations of weapons and armor pieces is laughably small. What the hell were they doing for 6 years? For many of us, this is strike 2 for BioWare. Oh wait, you didn't think I wasn't going to talk about Mass Effect Andromeda, did you? I think most of us would point to Mass Effect Andromeda as being the genesis of the what happened to BioWare attitudes that we all carry today. There's a great Kotaku article where they investigated what happened at BioWare. It's quite an interesting read. There was all kinds of turmoil, including technological limitations, killer deadlines, office politics, and much more that caused Mass Effect Andromeda to be as ungreat as it was. I want to read you a small excerpt from the article that kind of puts things in perspective. Author Jason Schreier says, quote, Mass Effect Andromeda was in development for 5 years, but by most accounts, BioWare built the bulk of the game in less than 18 months. I think we can kind of see that when we look at the game. It really is a good read. I'll leave the link in the description. Mass Effect Andromeda actually suffered kind of the same fate as Crackdown 3. The main idea for Mass Effect Andromeda was exploration. They were to have a procedurally generated universe with hundreds of planets you could fly down to. They described it as No Man's Sky-like. Well, just like Crackdown 3 with its ambitious cloud computing, BioWare's ambitious idea went from hundreds of planets and that you can actually fly through space to you no longer fly through space manually and 30 planets, and then eventually down to 7 planets. It seems like all the time, effort, and resources trying to get the procedural software working correct wasted almost 2 years. It seems to me they spent so much time chasing the dream of hundreds of worlds to visit that the game ended up suffering. So Mass Effect Andromeda was strike 1, and now Anthem is strike 2. After the poor sales of Battlefield 5, EA stock plummeted by $21 billion. You could bet they were banking on Anthem to do well. BioWare was also all in on Anthem. It was going to be the game that returned them to their former glory and put Mass Effect Andromeda in the rearview mirror. Instead, it seems to be the game that effectively puts them in the same category as Bungie and Rare, studios who have fallen from grace and are not the same studios they once were. The big question is, who's most to blame here? Was it BioWare, or were they micromanaged by EA? It seems that every game EA publishes ends up being terrible in some way, except for Apex Legends. Apex Legends dropped quietly. No ad campaigns, no E3 showings, no developer interviews, and despite all that, it is a great game and one of the best games EA has published in years. How is this possible? Well, it all makes sense when you find out that EA had literally nothing to do with the development of Apex Legends. Knowing that, it's hard not to think that it must be something EA had done or told BioWare that resulted in the game we got. The thing now is, what's the next move? We know that a new Dragon Age game is in the works, and I have high hopes that game will be good, but at this point, who knows? The bigger question is, if whatever BioWare does next fails, will they survive? I don't know that they will. The gaming industry is extremely cutthroat, and you can only fail so many times before you're done. It doesn't matter what your studio name is. I sincerely hope BioWare can turn it around, but like I said, this isn't the same BioWare that once made games like Knights of the Old Republic. That BioWare seems to be long dead and buried. And this BioWare doesn't seem to be too far behind. Well, that's the video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, and as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next Supernova.